Path of Exile, the only game where you can spend 700 plus hours playing and still feel like a complete beginner. Seriously, there's so much to do in this game that you'll actually think it's an MMO, but it's not. And the 700 plus hours you see on the screen right now is just what Steam recorded. It has nothing to do with the amount of researching I did behind the scenes. Researching leveling strategies, farming strategies, and a bunch of other things, alright? I don't know of any other game that requires you to put this much time into the game and still makes you feel like a noob. And before you start flaming me, okay, just let me tell you, I am not an ARPG player. And not only that, but when I first started playing Path of Exile was back in 2013 when Dominus was the final boss, and once you beat him, you just replayed it again in a harder difficulty. So, once I beat it in normals, I found no reason to continue playing. And back then, Path of Exile didn't teach you how to play the game. You didn't have your fancy tutorial that you have now. Back then, you had to figure that stuff on your own. I had freaking support gems sitting in solo sockets, not linked to anything. Because the game did not teach you that you're supposed to link up support gems with your skills. I mean, I probably read it somewhere, but I didn't fully understand what it meant when it really said link gems. I don't understand this new system. You want to see what I was used to? This is the kind of things I'm used to. Bam! Plus 50 to strength. Woo! Put that shit on me, boy! Oh, snap! Look at that skill tree! 3 options! Oh no! Which one do I pick? No lie though. Champions of Norrath was the shit. And if you disagree, I'll fucking fight you, alright? Just know that. So I went from plus 50 strength bonus, plus 100% health regeneration, to this. I mean, what does this mean? Like, really? 50% increased global crit. What the, does that mean? Does that mean everybody gets crit? Add 5 to 114 lightning damage? What does that mean? Is it good? Is it bad? I see people already clocking in at 1 million damage, 2 million damage. What is 5? What is 114 to that? Point is, shit was difficult, so I dropped it and haven't touched an action RPG for years to come. That was until my friend convinced me to play Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls when it came out. And Diablo 3 had a similar item and skill system that Champions of Norrath had, so I was able to quickly pick up the game. But after a couple weeks of playing Diablo 3, I began to see the flaws the game had. Limited to around 4 to 5 builds for each character, and that's being generous. It doesn't take a long time for people to figure out which ones were the best builds. Once you figure out which is the best build, it's just a numbers game after that. You just grind out the perfect rolls for your unique items or your set items, and that's pretty much it, and you just keep doing that until the season's over and you start a new one. That was when that same friend who got me into Diablo 3 told me to play Path of Exile. And by this time, I had already forgotten about Path of Exile, but apparently, Path of Exile hasn't forgotten about me. It's like seeing that old high school friend that you haven't seen in years, and he is jacked to the bones, looking better than ever, while you got pudgy and fat. 4 years later, and I am dropped right in the middle of Breach League, and everything was a nostalgic trip. It's all like, hey, Hillock, buddy, how's it been? Wow, Oversoul, you still keeping that techno music going? Tallman, still chillaxing and relaxing, my man. Looking good, looking good. Oh look, I leveled up.
I live to see
Oh,
another
let me
dawn.
see what I could put points in. Well, alright, okay. A lot of circles to pick from. See here, melee damage and life, life and armor, melee damage and life. Let's go with that. How big is this skill tree? Oh. Oh no. Oh no! Folks, needless to say, Path of Exile is not an easy game. Look at this. What? Where are you supposed to go? That, that node looks good. And that node looks good too. Uh, which one did you pick? Honestly, the best path forward. Eh? Path forward? Anywho, the best path forward is to find a beginner guide and just follow it. Do exactly as they say, and you should be fine. Once you created your 30th character following beginner guides, maybe then, just maybe, you might be able to create your own build. What do you know? And there's a program just for that called Path of Building. Now, before you open Path of Building, you should get yourself situated, get comfortable, call your mom, tell her you're not coming home for Christmas, kiss your babies on the head, you'll be gone for years. Oh, and before you finish everything, uninstall Path of Exile, because this is the only game you can be playing from now on. You can easily end up spending more time theory crafting builds versus playing the game. But this is just the passive tree we're talking about. Anywho, when I came back, there was 4 acts that you gotta play through. And then each time you beat the game, you just move on to a higher difficulty level and beat it again and again until you get to endgame. I had become so good at running those 4 acts that I could practically do it in my sleep. But then, 2 leagues later, they released Harbinger League along with Fall of Aura, which introduced 6 new acts along with a couple new assholes. You know who you are. All with the purpose of playing through single player without having to start over every single time you finish the game. Once you complete the 10 acts now, you would make it to endgame and head straight into mapping. And woo boy, let me tell you about mapping. This is where you're gonna spend the rest of your life. Look at this. This is 10 extra hours on top of beating the game. And this is how far I've gotten. Only 33 out of 159. Ridiculous. There is so much to talk about for mapping that I could literally make 2-3 more videos about just endgame mapping itself. What I'm trying to say is that given the multitude of choices offered by Path of Exile, everything boils down to personal preference or your personal playstyle. Everything from the passive tree to endgame mapping to Shaper to Elder to Shaper and Elder to new leagues like Abyss, Bestiary, Incursion, Delve, and Betrayal. All of these topics can have their own video made on them. Which is why after 700 plus hours of playing Path of Exile, I'm still playing Thunder builds.